People say, I can't do this. I don't know, I can't start a school. I don't know enough. But look, you know somebody that knows math, right? You maybe can teach English. You are in the history books, you can teach history, can you not? Right? So, I mean, you don't have to know everything, but there's people out there who do know some things. And we can all get together to make some things shake for our people. And the students are going to tell you what you need to know anyway. Exactly. If they come to you with a question about fractions, you don't know fractions, take it, you know what I'm saying, and say, okay, but I don't really know that right now, but tomorrow I'm going to have it for you. Right? We got to go and study ourselves. And this whole situation right now, really, today, reminds me of a movie I saw once. It was called Boys Up the Rock. Anybody saw that movie? Anybody saw that documentary? Right? So it was about some black children in Baltimore, and these white folks came there, fucked a couple black children out of the ghetto in Baltimore, and sent them to school in Kenya, East Africa. Right? And many of them, you know, they started to like education. It was, you know, yeah, man, I never had something like this before. This is nice. Right? So they did very well that first year. Some of them were homesick, but they did well. Their schooling was a lot better. I wouldn't say it was a good education, but their schooling was a lot better. Right? So when they came home that summer, and it was about time for them to go back to Kenya, the white folks came to Baltimore and said, well, we can't do the program anymore. We can't teach your children anymore because there's some, you know, political, you know, instability or something like that. And those black parents, men and women, sat in that room and cried. Well, what are you going to do? What are we going to do now? You're going to send them back out there to Baltimore to die? And I'm thinking to myself, if you know that a different kind of education is going to be, you know, beneficial for your children, why not build a dog educational facility for your children? Why are you waiting on somebody else to do it for you? Amen. There is 4 kinds of bones in our community. There's the wishbones, and I heard a lot of wishbones right here tonight. Yeah. Those folks who are wishing that somebody else would do something for us. Nobody else ain't gonna do nothing for us. We got those jawbones, the people we just talk a whole bunch. How many of us have been talking this talk for 20 years now? Yeah. Same thing. Man, same thing, 30 years now, 40 years now, same thing, and we ain't building the institution that we gotta build for our children. I'm saying, like, if we don't build what we need to build, our children will be having these same conversations that we having right now, saying the same thing over again, because we don't have those institutions. And my man said the schools are not the end-all be-all. They're certainly not. Because we can teach our children how to be African at Commodity Academy, but if we don't have the businesses that they can go into, the European will make them change. They will have to put on that suit. They can't wear dashiki anymore, right? So we will have to have those institutions where our children can continue to be black long after they leave our school. We teach our children how to be leaders. We teach our children how to build their own, because we feel like education is like childbirth, right? It's very important to our community. Am I right or wrong? Right. So a responsible mother in that, what is it called? The gestation period or something like that? That responsible mother is going to put into her body all the things that's going to nourish that child, right? She ain't going to smoke. You know, she's not going to drink. She's not going to put herself in situations where she's going to be too stressed out, right? But a neglectful mother will do that. And I think that we are being neglectful of the minds of our children by keep on sending them to these folks in the first place. Neglectful mothers to we are really aborting our children. It's menticide going on in these schools. You know what's going on. You see the product of it outside in the streets every day. Then we got the charter schools, right? A very good friend of mine, you know, is a principal in a charter school. We got these charter schools. What do you think about that? I don't think about that. It's the same people doing the same thing that they've been doing. And these people are coming. They got one school that's about to come. They're taking over Harriet Tubman over there. Sister told me that this lady who's taking over failed in New York, but they gave her school here. She failed somewhere else. But everybody coming to this thing, and they get in schools, and they bring in their own teachers, teach for America. The man said 2 years, and then they out, right? And most of them don't last the 2 years, they got 1 year. You know what I'm saying? The worst teachers in America coming into our schools, and they can't teach us nothing anyway, even if we had the right kind of curriculum. Right? So we got to look at these things. We got to look at these things. And we have really a lottery mentality. It's a lottery mentality we got out here. And when I think about lottery mentality, I think of laziness. I think of laziness. You got lottery mentality. Our children are fighting. There's 350 children fighting for 45 seats in the school. And they got the little air balls and everything. B2. You know, you got a parent who has 3 children, all of them in the lottery. You got another parent, she has 2 children, all of them in the lottery, trying to get these 45 seats. right? The parent who doesn't get the seats at all, right? She is upset.
Excuse me.
And then, hold on, then you have another parent who has 3 children, but one of them gets in, she's excited. Yep. Thank you, Jesus, for that. But what about your other 2 children?
That's right.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
I just want to know what.
So let me get back to those bones. Man said you gotta get back to the bones. So you have, I said they got 4, I gave you 2. Right. So there's the wish bones, people who are wishing somebody else to do something. You got the jaw bones, keep talking. Then we got those knuckle bones, my man, who come through and try to beat down, or knock down everybody else's idea without coming up with any ideas for itself. Amen. Without building anything for itself. You're just here to knock everybody else down. Right? You're not bringing anything to the platform, anything to the situation. You're taking things away from them. Right? We got those people like that in our community all the time. All the time. We call it, they say, I just want to play devil's advocate. The devil don't need no advocates. He got too many already. Right? But then, the most important bones that we have in our community, in our organizations, is those backbones. Those people who take on that load and do the work. And you might not hear from them. They might not be up here talking, but they're doing the work. And that's where it is. So many of us, we come to these kind of events, and I'm gonna just be honest with you, we come to these kind of events, we talk about it, we feel good when we go home. We feel good, like we did some work. This ain't the work. This ain't the work. Our children got like that because they've been with us 180 days already.
Hello.
You get what I'm saying? It's gotta take some work. We gotta be those backbones. And since I'm from New Orleans, Algiers, West Bank, 1.5, Fisher Project, stand up. I never did that before, so but I used to go to Mobile, Alabama for the summers. Right, so mom is from Mobile, Alabama. And I had some cousins and my uncle, they lived in Dawes, Alabama. Basically like the country outside of Mobile. And I met a friend out there one summer, and all we did was play basketball. That's where I got my game from. You know what I'm saying? Play basketball and jump on trampolines. Nothing else. Nothing else to do. Play basketball, jump on trampolines. That's all we had to do. Right? He told me a story one day. He said, yo, man, my grandfather had a farm. Right? My grandfather had a farm. He said they were up early one morning walking in the pasture on the farm. And they came up to an electric fence. Electric fence is what keeps the cows away from leaving out of the farm, right? So they're walking on the farm, and they came face to face with the electric fence, right? So the grandfather, he said his grandfather looked around, grabbed the electric fence, and climbed over. Now this perplexed the young man, my friend, because he was like, you know what? I remember falling into this thing, and it shocked me pretty bad. Right, so when they got when they got home, it was still early. They was about to do breakfast and whatnot. And I said this at another place, and people really liked it because they were up early because they say good things come to those who wait, but only what is left by those who get up early and hustle. Right? So they were up early, and he said, Grandpa, why did you look around before you climbed over that electric fence? Why do you have an electric fence that's not powered? He said, well, young man, you gotta understand this. I was looking around to make sure that none of the cattle could see me, because you never want them to get an idea of what they could do. Exactly. And understand this, just because you got an electric fence, you don't have to keep it on all the time, because once that cattle understands that it can be shot, it'll raise right up to it and turn back around. Same thing with us. Operate conditioning and class conditioning. You know what I'm saying? You're a Skinner, huh? I know you have. We have been conditioned to stop. We'll go so far, and a lot of us go so far as being a knuckle bone, or being a jawbone, or being a wishbone, but we ain't going to be that backbone. Because what's on the other side of that fence is uncertainty, yes. On the other side of that fence is risk, yes. But Pete the Turtle, who only progresses when he sticks his neck out, right? On the other side of that fence is hard work. Yes, but guess what else is on the other side of that fence? It's freedom. Freedom is on the other side of that fence. And we got to get to the point where what is on the side of that fence is more important than what's on the side of this fence. And as Malcolm said, any place is better than here. Any place has got to be better than here. I mean, we talk so much about all the wrong that's going on, but we don't do anything about it. We ain't trying to leave the plantation. We are on, what they say, let me see. We in the PNC, plantation, PRC. Plantation Reform Committee. That's what we on. We just want to make it a little bit easier for us on the plantation. A little bit more comfortable. You dig what I'm saying? You get a little bit more hog mogs and chitlins on the plantation. We don't want to leave though, because as Malcolm said, we're going to get a better house than this. To do the kind of work that we're doing, it's a lot of sacrifices going to go involved in that. And a lot of the desires that we have has been inculcated in us by the European. So we got to give up some of those material desires to be able to do what we need to do for our children. Right. So when we talking about those things, I just totally lost my train of thought. We gotta build out all the schools. That's all that I'm saying, right? And Franz Fanon, talking about books. Franz Fanon wrote a book called The Wretched of the Earth, and he started one of the chapters of the book. He said, every generation must find its mission and either fulfill it or betray it. So I read that in about 2003, 2004, and at that moment, I already knew that I wanted to build schools, but I began to delay my mission, began to make up excuses. Once I get a job, then I'm gonna do it. Then I'm gonna build a school. Once I get out of school, then I'm gonna build a school. Once I have a family, get settled a little bit, then I'm gonna build a school. All excuses. Because if you don't do it, if you ain't gonna do it now, you ain't gonna do it later. Stop fooling yourself. If you don't do it now, you ain't gonna do it. This is the best time and the worst time. It's never gonna be a perfect time. Start where you are right now. You got family? You got family who failed these leak tests? Yeah, we all got family that's failed these leak tests, right? Take them there. Start educating them. Homeschooling is very, very easy to do. Particularly when you're not getting money from them. And we don't want no money from them. But some of our people, we don't, those wishbones, we want their validation. Right? Because people ask us all the time, well, you got accreditation from the state. We don't care about the state. Because the state is not going to give us, they're not going to give us permission to educate our children the way our children need to be educated.